What? Confirmed that Doom is Tony Stark now and not Von Doom, like the Russos said. Okay, what the hell is going on? Let's check this out, shall we? Because I need to understand this. Good Lord.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Of course, everybody is still talking about Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom, and we actually just recently heard how much he's getting paid, and the Russo brothers as well. It was not cheap to get them all to return, and according to Variety, their sources told them that Robert Downey Jr. said that he would...
I guess consider it an investment, since they spent all this money flushing the MCU down the toilet, along with Star Wars. So, consider it an investment in their future, if this works.
Only return to the MCU if the Russo brothers would direct the films. According to an article by Variety released yesterday, they stated, bringing back key members of the old gang won't come cheap. Sources say Marvel's is plunking down $80 million for Anthony and Joe Russo to direct Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and significantly more for Downey to tackle uber villain Dr. Doom and
Evil Robe flapping
the two tentpoles. So quite a bit of money
along with the bird's wings.
Back, but hopefully it's gonna be worth it. And I believe it will if they do the story right. Now, we talked about Battleworld yesterday and how I think the Void is eventually going to become Battleworld, with of course Dr. Doom ruling Battleworld. But how do we get there? What leads up to Dr. Doom ruling Battleworld? Well, I think the answer is quite simple, especially if we are taking a page from the comics. It's one of the most amazing stories that exists in the comics, and I think I know how it's going to tie into the Fantastic Four, into Doctor Strange 3, and then of course into Avengers Doomsday, and then Secret Wars. And it ironically will have to do with Tony Stark trying to save the multiverse, but ultimately cause its destruction, and in turn leading him to become evil and become Doom. Oh, and by the way, we seemingly do have confirmation that he is going to be playing Tony Stark and not Victor Von Doom. Jeff Snyder, who just a couple of weeks ago reported that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be returning to Marvel Studios, said yesterday that the same source who tipped him off about Robert Downey Jr. returning also referred to him as alternate multiverse Tony Stark, who is actually Dr. Doom. So considering how 2 weeks ago he was right about Robert Downey Jr. returning, we can assume that this is accurate as well, and that he is indeed going to play a variant of Tony Stark, who is also Dr. Doom. Now, I know this kind of upset some people because...
Now, I'm okay with that. If that's the case, I am okay with that. I'm okay with him being Tony Stark that became Dr. Doom. I'm okay with that. And at the same time, the Marvel fan in me wants to see the true Dr. Doom, which may come later. So, just me saying all of that, still makes me worry.
Because they want Victor Von Doom, but I believe that they can pull this off and we still get Victor Von Doom in a really great way eventually. I think this actually works. I did a video about why it works a couple of days ago. I'll link it and you can check it out after this video. But here's how I believe Dr. Doom, Tony Stark's version of Dr. Doom, destroys the multiverse and ultimately becomes God Emperor Doom. You see, in the comics, Black Panther and the Illuminati find out about incursions, and they essentially learn that incursions are a domino effect. If one universe ends up being destroyed, then it's kind of like an explosion that pushes the two universes next to it into other universes. So it's a domino effect because they continue to hit universes next to them, one after another, until essentially everything is destroyed, the entire multiverse. So in order to try and protect their universe and the multiverse as a whole, the Illuminati gathers the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stones, or the Infinity Gems as they are referred to in the comics, and they decide to try and stop the Earth that is going to collide with theirs using the Infinity Gauntlet, and they decide that Captain America should be the one to do this. They try it, but they fail. It does not work. And all of the Infinity Stones actually get destroyed in the process, except for the Time Stone, which just simply disappears. And once an Earth pops up, like once one Earth sees another Earth from another universe, you basically have 8...
So I guess it's different in the comics than it was in the movies, because in the movies, like, Thanos could withstand using the Infinity Stones, and it still destroyed his arm, destroyed the Hulk's arm, which shows that they're essentially the same power level. But here, Cap used it, so interesting.
Hours until both of those Earths collide into each other and both universes are destroyed. So you really don't have a lot of time. And it's always Earths colliding because Earths are an anchor point of each universe. So the only way to stop your world from being destroyed is to destroy the other Earths. So the Illuminati, after the Infinity Gauntlet fails, are like, okay, well, we know what to do. Let's destroy that other Earth. But of course, as you probably could have guessed, Captain America is not okay with it. In true Steve Rogers form, he's like, we can't destroy this other universe, but the Illuminati are basically like, look, it's them or us, and we choose us. So Tony Stark literally tells Doctor Strange, wipe his mind. And he does, and they kick him out of the Illuminati. That eventually leads on to the original Sin storyline, but that's another story for later. But here's where I believe that it's really going to tie into the MCU. What ends up happening is Reed Richards creates a multiversal portal so they can look into other realities to find out how other universes are dealing with incursions. And ultimately they go on to find out that Doctor Doom is behind everything. But he wasn't trying to destroy the multiverse, he was trying to save it. It was all kind of an accident. We learned that the Beyonders were behind everything, and that they actually created Molecule Man as a bomb. And Molecule Man exists in literally every single universe in the exact same form. He is exactly the same in every single universe, and this is because the Beyonders made him to be a bomb to where they can set off all of the Molecule Mans as bombs at once to destroy the multiverse.
Wow.
So Doctor Doom figures this out and teams up with one of the Molecule Man, who many people refer to as Prime Molecule Man, Owen Reese. And the two of them set out to try and stop.
I am Molecule Man Prime, and I am here to set off a bomb to destroy the multiverse.
This from happening. Essentially, they try to save the multiverse, but what ends up happening is they kill a Molecule Man in one universe, and that universe gets destroyed, and it starts the incursions. So they didn't mean to do it, but they did start the incursions. So then from there, Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange, and Owen Reese, a Molecule Man, basically get a lot of the Molecule Man together. They go and they confront the Beyonders, and they essentially throw a lot of Molecule Men at the Beyonders, causing them to explode, defeating the Beyonders. But what happens is Doctor Doom ends up absorbing all of the power of the Beyonders, then he becomes God Doom. And from there, basically, the multiverse does get destroyed, and Doctor Doom creates Battleworld. Battleworld is the remnants of a lot of universes that are left over. Again, that is pretty much exactly how the Void is described in the MCU, and he rules over it as God Emperor Doom. I believe that we're going to get a very similar story in the MCU. I think that Tony Stark, again, if it is a Tony Stark variant that is going to be Doom, is going to kind of get word of these incursions. He's going to find out about them. And maybe him and Reed Richards of his universe, maybe they're friends, because if they're going to kind of switch Victor Von Doom with Tony Stark, then maybe Tony Stark and Reed Richards are roommates in college, and they have the rivalry with each other, etc. And you have two of the smartest men alive trying to deal with incursions, maybe in their own way. And from here, it's easy to see how Tony Stark could go out and try to stop the incursions in his own way, only for him to actually fail and possibly cause the destruction of the entire multiverse himself. And maybe in the Fantastic Four, this is
looking at that behind the Scarlet Witch got with Von Doom at some point. I believe it. She got with a damn android.
Actually what causes the destruction of their universe, which leads the Fantastic Four and Doom to our universe via a multiversal portal that Reed and possibly Tony Stark could make. Because once one incursion happens, or several, it's very easy to see how Tony Stark could step in, believing he is right, believing he knows what to do about the situation, and basically tell everybody that they need to follow him. And perhaps, much like in the comics, his solution to saving their own universe is to simply destroy the others. And you can again see how a lot of people might have a problem with this. But we can very easily see how Tony Stark, even if everybody is going against him, will still stand his ground, believing that he's right, believing that he is the only person who could save the universe, the multiverse. So that's where Tony Stark could start to really turn kind of bad. And that's where we could see him go up against the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and basically anybody who gets in his way, because he believes that he's going to be doing what is right to save everybody.
See, the more and more I hear this, it's like, as long as he's back as Tony, I'm fine with that. Here's what's bothering me. we're still, if he's playing, if this is all true and he is playing a Tony Stark that becomes Doctor Doom, we are still not getting the real Doctor Doom. And that bothers me. Like, it bothered me when they were talking about how Doomsday, the true Doomsday, was still out there when we got it in Batman v Superman. It's kind of like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. You get one Doomsday and get another one like later, maybe. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't feel right.
Because in the comics, essentially what Doctor Doom does is he goes and he tries to destroy all of the Earths that are causing incursions. He forms the group, the Black Swans. They go out and they are killing Earths as well. Doctor Doom is going out and destroying Molecule Mans, and essentially what he's doing is killing a lot of different universes in order to try and preserve the entire multiverse. But it's very easy to see how the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, how the Avengers, and some X-Men say, you can't do that. That's not for you to decide. You are playing God. But we know how Tony Stark thinks. Most of the time, he believes that he himself is right and others are wrong. And if this Tony Stark who becomes Doom is convinced that this is the only way to save the multiverse, we know that he's going to go out and do that, which is going to lead to everybody else fighting against him to protect these other worlds. And essentially, it's kind of going to be like Civil War, where Tony Stark thinks he's right, Steve Rogers doesn't agree with him, and Tony Stark ends up fighting him in order to prevent him from doing what he, Steve Rogers, believes is right. And I believe the same thing will happen in the MCU. And that's how Tony Stark becomes Doom, because he is the Doom of the multiverse. However, I think we all already know how this is going to end. Either in Avengers Doomsday or in the beginning of Avengers Secret Wars. I'm guessing at the end of Doomsday, though. No one is successful at saving the multiverse, and everything gets destroyed and everybody...
Well, one thing that I've seen people point out is that, Avengers Doomsday is green, like Doctor Doom, but Avengers Secret Wars is the Tony Stark Iron Man colors. So maybe he really is. Maybe that's their way of telling us, yeah.
Everybody is left on Battleworld. Now, whether that is the Void, like I think it's going to be, or Doctor Doom literally creates a Battleworld like he does in the comics. The multiverse will be destroyed, the heroes will be on Battleworld, and Doctor Doom will rule that world. And that is where we get what we've been waiting for. The Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and the X-Men all together, all going up against possibly the greatest villain of all time, Doctor Doom, although, of course, it's going to be a slight variant of the character in these movies. But essentially, if it's anything like the comics, I do think that Doctor Doom is going to be the one who causes the destruction of the multiverse, and ultimately ends up ruling a world that consists of the remains of all of the universes. And that...
Someone said to me in a comment, they were like, if Tony Stark does end up being Doctor Doom, they're like, Tyrone, now you understand how we Kang fans felt about him being some form of the Beyonder. And I was like, yeah, it's like, bring in the real Beyonder. Don't make Kang the Beyonder. I get it. And that's not anything I didn't think about. It was just like, we want the real version. We don't want these twisted versions, like Zod wasn't Doomsday. That's not who we wanted as Doomsday. As much as I loved Batman v Superman, I really do love that movie. It's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. I did not like that about it.
That's how we get God Emperor Doom. Honestly, if they go this route, I think it would make for a pretty incredible story, and I think it would make comic fans pretty excited about it as well. And it flows really well from Fantastic Four to Doomsday to Secret Wars. I think this is their strategy, but go ahead and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you like this? Do you not like it? Are you still on the fence about RDJ returning and playing Dr. Doom? Leave all of your thoughts in the comments down below.
Fence.
Please don't forget...
I'm on the fence, sir. Let me know what you guys think and get over and follow the Cosmic Wonder. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. 10 million subscribers.